What's up, guys? We're moving to Arkansas. Good. So while Dad's doing some work, let me explain. Basically what we're doing, I'm selling my house in California, Mom and Dad are selling their place here, and we're going to Arkansas. We're actually heading there on a trip next month, and we're gonna take a load with us. When we were down in Texas at the Woodworkers show, we bought this trailer from my buddy Dylan. We wanna put some sideboards on it, and we wanna put a gate on it. It's gonna be a lot of miles on the road. We're also gonna be doing something kind of special on the gate, a little bit of free advertising, if you will. So, let's get started.
The brackets on the frame of the trailer were a little bit small to fit a full-size 2x4 in there. So what Dad did is made a template, and that way we could mark each one of the posts to get it to fit just right. Now that the little template is made, we got to cut our posts. So we used 2x4s and we cut them each at 36 inches. That way they fit inside the bracket, and our actual sideboards would be right around 31 inches or so. We're not too concerned about getting these dead on, but we want them as close as we can get them. To cut the notch in the post, we just used the bandsaw, and it worked out really well. And then we put a bracket on the chop saw and we set the right depth to get just the right thickness for the post to fit nice and snug into the bracket on the trailer. This is the first time we ever used the chop saw for this particular use. We could have cut the notches a little farther apart and then just chipped them out with the chisel, but we didn't do that. Next time I think we probably will. But once we got all the notches cut out, we tried to make it as smooth as we could and fit it right in that bracket. Look at that. Now that we have the first one done, we just got to make 9 more. Some of these were a little bit taller than the others, so we just cut them off with the Sawzall. And we did it in the rain.
All right, guys, so we have the posts up. They're all notched. They're all pretty close to the same height.
Yeah, close enough for us.
Close enough, yeah. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut our 2x6s. We're gonna have 3 rows, the top, the middle, and the bottom. Our bottom row is gonna be on the inside of the trailer to give us a little more stability, and then the top 2 rows will be on the outside of the post. That way we can have tie downs on them. We're gonna glue and screw each one of these 2x6s. All right, you ready?
Let's get it.
Let's do it.
For the sideboards, we measured each section individually, that way we made sure that our cuts were right. Now the bottom section is going on the inside of the trailer for a couple of reasons. Number 1, to give some stability when we ratchet everything down. Number 2, there wasn't enough room between the wheel wells and the posts to fit the 2x6 on the outside. So this worked out really well. To secure the 2x6s, we used wood glue and then 2.5-inch wood screws to make sure it was nice and solid and hopefully won't come apart while we're on the road. One thing we made sure to do is use the large speed square when we're putting these posts on, because we wanted to be as square as we possibly could. Now, because these posts are not secured into the trailer itself, there's a lot of movement, so you just got to kind of make it work however you can. A little side note here, guys, we used the Flex drill and driver set for this whole project, and it was about a 2.5 day project. The batteries did not even lose 1 bar of use. These things are freaking awesome. For the top and middle rails, what we did is line them up, and then we actually clamped them into place to drill the pilot holes. Once we drilled the pilot holes, then we dropped it down, put the glue and the screws in it. This system worked out really well, but it would be pretty tough to do with only one guy or girl.
All right, guys, we are the next morning. We've got the 3 sides done, the 2 sides in the front. Now we got to make the tailgates. A little bit different there, figuring out how this thing was going to hinge at the back, because we're going to have double tailgates that open from the center. So we did kind of a little mock-up here, and we realized because of the way we constructed it down here, we've got a little bit of an issue. So we've got to do a little modification so that we have 3 hinge points, so this will be nice and solid when we open those tailgates.
This was a super easy fix. All we had to do was make an outside piece that lined up with the top 2, but for some reason it took us like 20 or 30 minutes to figure out how to do this. I'm not really sure why. Then once we got both of these modifications done on each side, we wanted to measure and make sure we got the right length for the gates. They're going to be even on both sides.
40 you said, right?
40 1/4.
No, those ain't 40 1/4, but they're close.
All right, guys, real quick. We got 4 boards that are supposed to be 40 1/4. I cut 3 of them. Dad cut 1 of them. He's laughing at me because they're the wrong size. But which one was the wrong size? What is that one right there?
Well,
That one's 41 3/8.
Well, here's the point. Can they hear you?
What? They can still hear. See? Yep. 41 3/8. Not 40 1/4.
Dad tried to blame me on that, but we all know it's his fault. Even he knows that. So, once we had our gate pieces cut, we're going to carve and make some signs for a little bit of free advertising as we're making our 20-hour drive. These 2x6s carved surprisingly well. I was actually really shocked at how well they carved, both inset and outset. And they turned out looking really nice. So, as many times as we've said, carving just construction grade lumber isn't the best, sometimes it works out.
All right, guys, so we got all our signs carved. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the 2 gates together and mount them on the back of the trailer.
So we got to take measurements off the side rails, make sure that these are going to match up with those, put our uprights, and hope for the best.
That's the plan.
That's what we do most of the time.
Yeah. All right, let's do it.
The tricky part about doing this was we had to make sure there was enough room for the hinges on each side of the gate. So we actually ended up redoing one of them because the post was a little bit too close. It was hitting the far corner post as you shut the gate. So when you're doing something like this, give yourself plenty of room. That way you don't have to redo it the way Dad and I did. We were going to put like some really nice heavy duty hinges on the gates, but we ended up not doing that because my grandpa used to love buying hardware. So we've got probably 60 or 70 of these small door hinges, and they ended up working out perfect. The rails that the gates are attached to are not super solid on the trailer. They're just sitting in the brackets. So one thing when you're doing this is that you want to make sure you give yourself plenty of room for that movement as you open and close the gates. We used some barrel bolts at the bottom of the gate and then just drilled holes in the bed of the trailer. That way they make sure to stay closed when we want them to stay closed, and also we can use little padlocks to make them harder to open. If somebody really wants in there, they'll get in there, but that at least keeps people honest.
All right, so now we got the whole thing done. We might add a few more things. We're probably gonna put pins at the bottom of the post. That way, as we're driving, nothing pops out. Might add some angle irons to the corners just to solidify it a little bit. Now we're gonna put some Czar urethane on it and protect this thing from the weather.
The critter gun worked great for this. If we would have had to do this with spray cans, first of all, it would have taken a long time, and second of all, it would have been super expensive. 10 or 15 bucks a can, that goes pretty quick. So we thinned the Czar urethane at about 20%, and then we set our pressure right around 50 psi. We ended up putting like 3 coats all together on the inside and outside of this, and I think it's going to work out well.
All right, guys, so there it is. We are ready to pack this thing up and head across the country. I'm pretty stoked with how it came out. I think it looks really nice.
You know, I had an idea in my mind of the way it would look when we started out, and it's better than that. So
Yeah.
I'm, you know, for being a couple of Okies that don't know what the heck they're doing, we seem to have it figured out. Now, whether it'll fall apart halfway between here and Arkansas, we'll see.
Only one way to figure it out.
Yeah, you'll be riding behind me, so pick it up as you're coming through.
That'll work.
If you guys see this rolling down the road between here and Arkansas, you know who it is.
All right, guys, as always, if you have any questions, you can email us, Ryan@makeawoodsign.com.
Eric@makeawoodsign.com.
And we'll see you guys on the next one.
See you guys. Love you. Bye.
Bye.